Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Green Cowboys.
Greener pastures. We're taking you to greener pastures, everyone.
Yes. My name is Elliot, and this is Steven, and today we're going to be talking about the infamous Altria deal with Kron. As usual, I'm going to let my little Steven start this one off.
Oh, my little Steven, here we go. So this was a very, very big announcement on Friday. Altria, a.k.a. Marlboro, a.k.a. Philip Morris, biggest cigarette company, invested $1.8 billion with a capital B into Cronos. That is huge. That's for a 45% stake into the company with the option to increase to 55% if they so do choose in the future. So they can take a majority stake. It's basically like the Canopy deal, same thing, essentially. But that is huge, huge news for the entire sector, honestly. And to me, that kind of signifies the fact that these big companies are still circling the Canadian LPs. You know, they're still looking to take a bite.
Yeah, I think that this means a lot of good things for us Canadian investors. We started early when their market was starting to heat up, in the sense that there was a lot of fear as soon as American legislation started getting pushed through, like the Farm Bill was starting to be heated up, and Jeff Sessions was taken out. There's a lot of fear that basically the money was going to just start funneling out of Canada and that everyone was going to lose their investments. But since it looks like another giant American company like Altria or Marlboro, I don't think Philip Morris is the same thing.
Well, they spun off the name. You could look up the Wikipedia. It's weird, but they spun off the name. They're basically the same thing.
All right, well,
Philip Morris.
Yeah, we have another giant American name, especially in the adult industry, adult use industry, I guess, is taking a huge investment, saying, you know what, we trust the federal government enough to want to do this.
Yeah, and I mean, like you were saying before, to me that really means that that Canada is still the place to invest. You know, like you were saying, everyone thought that a lot of people that I've talked to thought that Canada was done. Their run's over now, and that's on to America. But with this investment, it kind of signifies, in fact, the opposite, that Canada is still in the running, and that's where these big companies are going to invest into.
Yeah, these Canadian companies could come south of the border right into America, and that just means more cash in our hands. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't want to invest in some of the American companies already, or some of the smaller ones, because they already have a stake here. But if they start running in, we all pretty much, I think anyone who follows the industry already knows that Canopy is going to be in America. There's no way they're not. They're way too far ahead of the curve. And now if Kron has Marble behind them, they're coming in. They're coming in. They're coming in big.
That's big. So the one thing I thought about too, as soon as I heard this, was it's clear that Altria, when they decided to invest, the fact that basically, they know that America might not be coming online sooner rather than later. I guess we don't really know what the timeline is for American federalization and legalization, but we do know with this deal that they clearly didn't want to wait. They wanted to get in now in Canada and get their foothold.
A lot of people are asking the question, why Kron? Why Cronos Group? You know what I mean? A lot of people were saying they were overvalued for a long time, and why not pick someone like Aphria or Aurora? Besides all the news with Aphria lately, why not pick one of those larger companies? And I think it's because since Kron knew they were overvalued, they were being attacked by Citron, and they had, I would say, not the greatest financials this last period, that they're like, you know what, we have faith in their management, because obviously they're going to scope the hell out of their management, and they're cheap enough to us to get in hard at 45%, and if it does well, another 55% take over the company completely. And I mean, these are advertising geniuses. Think of Joe Camel. They actually were forced to stop advertising because it was so good it was getting to kids.
Yeah, no, but this with 45%, with $1.8 billion, it actually values Krone. They're valuing Krone, if you convert that to 100%, at $4 billion, which their valuation currently now is.
They only make like $10 million a year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're valuing them at $4 billion with $1.8 billion investment for 45%. So Canada's not over.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are terrified of these Canadian companies for that reason alone. They do not bring in that much money right now, but everyone is so confident in the industry because I mean, it's marijuana. Like it's not a secret that a lot of people use marijuana. You know what I mean? And they'll pay for it legally.
Honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait for the Altria products. There's going to be spliffs. There's going to be packs of CBD, hopefully CBD smokes. I mean, a range of products that we can get into.
Yeah. I think the first thing that Philip Morris or Altria is probably going to do, even though they're already into the smoking industry, I think they're going to start developing beverages because I think that that's going to be the huge market that everyone's looking for. Like when I was thinking about this the other day, like my sister, she suffers from anxiety and stuff like that, and she's always been a goody two shoes. So anything smoking wise has always been a huge turn off to her. She's always been like, no, why would you ever do that? Which is fine. That's her prerogative. But every now and again, she'll have a tequila. You know what I mean? And honestly, it's probably a lot worse for her than CBD is. So if you were to take that and turn it into a drink where all these people who are not turned off by that fact, that is a huge market. There's no hangover. It doesn't taste like crap like a lot of bottom shelf liquors do. And it's literally going to taste like a fruit punch. And it will be a fruit punch with THC and CBD.
And did you know this too? Altria actually has a 10% stake in InBev, which is Anheuser-Busch.
I did not know that.
So they're most definitely probably going to pull some of those connection strings to make.
If you advertise with big old booby girls being like, this is the greatest thing ever, like every beer commercial ever, like just let Anheuser-Busch take care of it. People are going to buy it. Just let them take care of it. That's beer commercials. So I was in the military for a while, and I was overseas for a long time, and we didn't have like commercials. We had something called AFN, which was basically just like people, like public service announcements of people like betting their stripes if you have a gambling problem or whatever. And when I got back to the States, I remember seeing my first beer commercial, and I was like, wow, this really is what America is all about right here. Just some girls in bikinis like shuffling around beers, passing it to some good-looking dude.
But now actually the sales of beers has dropped off, especially with the millennials, in recent years.
Not that great. I mean, it's good to get twisted every once in a while.
Not beers as in like the brand name beers. Well, I mean, that's what I mean. The brand name beers is where it's like declined. Not the microbrews has been like the up and coming part of the beer industry that they're trying to get into. But I mean, it's a fact. Millennials are basically more interested in marijuana than they are in alcohol. So that's good for us. That's good for anyone who's investing. Yeah. Significant.
Yeah. So this is the 2.0 of the canopy deal that took our sector up to totally new limits. I'm really hoping that it'll do it again. I think the fact that the Dow has been sort of taking a beating lately, that's probably why we're not seeing a rally or bull run. But if that turns around and people start taking a look at this Altria deal, I think that we could possibly see another bull run.
No, yeah, and
possibly.
The CEO of Cronos, Gorenstein, I think
he's a kid, right? He's like a child.
He looks like a child
or a baby face.
One thing that he said, which I think is also true, regarding this deal, is the fact that like a whole bunch of other massive companies have basically been circling the waters. And what he used the term, I think it was speed dating. They've been speed dating these LPs basically. So I think there's definitely going to be more of these deals. And can we talk about Afria too? And then people are really butthurt about them not getting this deal, and not sealing deals and whatnot. But to be honest,
they got something on the hook. There's a fish on that line.
To be honest, my opinion is that Vic Newfield does not want to give up 55%. Does not want to give up ownership of the company. And that's what I think the deal he's going to make. I think is probably going to be like more like 25 or 30% stake, and not like not not full ownership basically.
I agree.
Which is what
agree. And in the initial Constellation deal, a lot of people might not know this, that there was actually 2 parts to what could be a 3-part Constellation deal. The first one was a smaller chunk of cash, like 250 or 500 million, somewhere in between there, and it was for 25% stake. And then they came back with a 35 to 45% stake at $5 billion Canadian dollars.
Yeah, Canadian. And then they still can take another bite as their third one to gain full ownership. I think just over 50%, I believe.
And the more I read onto this Afria thing, not to sort of switch paces, but the more I think that these people knew that Vic had something big coming up, and that's when they did this attack. And I hope, and I'm not trying to get into speculation here, I hope that this coming week, when they say that they're going line by line to dispute those allegations, I hope they actually do that, because I still want to say that I have a lot of faith in Vic, and I think that they have something big coming up, and this was just a timed attack.
I think so. I mean, if you just to for people out there who are like, oh, those are huge, 2 massive company, or Altria is huge, which they are massive. I mean, multi-billion-dollar company. I mean, you have Coke, you have Pepsi, you have Red Bull, you have
Red Bull CBD drinks.
Pharmaceutical companies have not even
chill to your energy. Oh,
Big Pharma. You have Big Pharma, which hasn't even stepped foot in the arena yet.
I think Big Pharma's worked hard behind the scenes, to be honest, already.
They absolutely have to be. There's so much money in a drug that you can pretty much.
They're probably watching GW Pharma and how their epilepsy drug comes out and how profitable it is. Because, I mean, cannabis is so cheap to produce. It is so cheap. I mean, all right, I don't want to say that, because if you're trying to grow it on like a scale where you're smoking the ingredient, like you obviously want big, juicy buds, or however people like it. I'm not personally a cannabis user, but, there's obviously a market for that. But I think that on like an industrial scale, like for ingredients, it's probably super cheap to create.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, so that's the thing. I don't think GW, really is anything that special, to be honest, once CBD actually, goes fully live, and because it's basically the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, you can use the CBD for epilepsy. So, yeah.
All right, well, not to drag this on too long, we try to keep it pretty short here, especially if we're going over one topic and we kind of spilled into Afria. We're going to have a follow-up video possibly during the middle of the week. Cowboy Quickie is what we'd like to call it. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. I hope you enjoy these videos. Leave any comment you want. We don't care if you want to shitpost us. Like, we'll read it on here and we'll have fun doing it. I mean, when we posted this, we got so many, like, what was the I'm gonna read it. Hold on. I'm gonna read the comments.
Well, yeah, pull up. I actually snapshotted my favorite comments that we got on Reddit, on the Reddit posts. Hold on. This is definitely worth it. We can find it.
Oh, I can find it. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay.
You got it?
Yep. These are the people I'm watching shitpost on this board. Fuck it. I'm out of here. All right, throw away.
That was my favorite one.
2493. And then this is definitely the best one. It says, "What the fuck is this? 2 Fortnite gamers giving advice on stocks?" Thanks. Twit said it. And then at least you aren't living in your parents' basement. And then someone said below that, "Well, we can't really be proving that now, can we?"
Couldn't really prove it. Yeah.
I can live in my parents' basement, so what? I'm saving rent.
Does this look like a basement to you? I mean, this is a window. Usually basements don't have windows. Yeah. I mean, unless it's a pretty damn good, nice basement. But level like this, no. I mean, and a bed. There's a bed back there. Beds usually are not basements.
There could be a bed.
I mean, it could be a basement.
Dude, if I was living in a basement, like, like your room right there, I think I'd feel pretty good about it. So, all right, subscribe, comment below. My name's Elliot. This is Steven. And welcome to the Green Cowboys. Taking you,
baby.